Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Putin wants to negotiate. Well, he never said he wouldn't, but this is a new development because it's reported by former German Chancellor Gerhard Schröder, who is vacationing in Moscow. I'm not making it up. That's the reality. So let's see what's going on here. This article comes from Reuters from August 3rd, 2022. This is the title. German ex-chancellor Schröder says Russia wants negotiated solution to Ukraine war. So says that Russia wants negotiated solution to Ukraine war. All right, let's see. Here's the new emissary. Russia wants a negotiated solution to the war in Ukraine. At last month's agreement on grain shipments might offer a way forward. Former German Chancellor Gerhard Schröder and friend of Vladimir Putin said on Wednesday, and I'm quoting, "The good news is that the Kremlin wants a negotiated solution," end quote, Schröder told Stern Weekly and broadcasted RTL and TV, adding he had met Putin in Moscow last week. Whew, that was a fast move. And I'm quoting, "A first success in the grain deal, perhaps that can be slowly expanded to a ceasefire," end quote, he said. Russia and Ukraine struck a deal last month. Well, if you ask the Ukrainians, they didn't strike a deal with the Russians, they struck a deal with the United Nations. That's how they spin the whole thing, like United Nations somehow had any power without the Russians saying yay or nay. But I'm just saying how that's viewed by the Ukrainians in all the articles I read about that. They kept themselves separate from the Russians. They say we didn't sign anything with the Russians. We signed with the United Nations and Turkey. Nothing with the Russians directly. All right, well, if you want to make that sure and well known, you did, at least here on this area. So Russia and Ukraine struck a deal last month to unblock grain exports from Black Sea ports, and the first ship carrying Ukrainian grain to world markets since Moscow's invasion 5 months ago is on its way to Lebanon. Schröder said solutions to crucial problems such as Crimea could be found over time, and I'm quoting, "maybe not over 99 years like Hong Kong, but in the next generation," end quote. He said an alternative to NATO membership for Ukraine might be armed neutrally like Austria. The future of the Donbas region and eastern Ukraine, the scene of fierce fighting, however, was more complicated. And I'm quoting, "a solution based on a Swiss cantonal model will have to be found." You know, the Switzerland has cantons, and they're semi-independent, autonomous within Switzerland. He said, and there's, if you look at it, there's French, German, and Italians cantons. He said, adding it would have to be seen if Putin would go back to a pre-war contact line in a ceasefire. So it would have to be seen if Putin would go back to a pre-war contact line in a ceasefire. So this is what Ukrainians say. They say that they want the Russian army to go back, and then they will start the negotiation, go back to the pre-February 24th borders. Schröder's chancellor from 1998 to 2005 has criticized the war in Ukraine but refused to condemn Putin, whom he still calls a close personal friend. Distancing himself from Putin now would not help the situation, he said, increasingly derided in Germany by some, but they say in Germany like by some might agree with him, some might not agree with him, but these guys try to make the illusion, this article, that Germany, they don't like whatever he did. I'm pretty sure there are some people who like what he did and support him for what he's doing. But they say increasingly derided in Germany for his pro-Russia stance. Where's the pro-Russia stance? Didn't they say here that he criticized the war in Ukraine but refused to condemn Putin? So if you keep your mouth shut, that's like silence right now is a sign of aggression here. All right, whom he still calls a close personal friend. Yeah. Well, I don't know what's in between those two guys. So increasingly derided in Germany for his pro-Russia stance, Schroeder has been stripped of his right to a publicly funded office. A champion of the Nord Stream pipeline, which carried Russian gas to Germany under the Baltic Sea, Schroeder is chairman of the Shareholders Committee of Nord Stream AG, operator of the pipeline majority owned by Russia's Gazprom, according to Lincoln. After intense criticism, Schroeder in May stood down from the board of Russia's state-owned oil company Rosneft and declined a nomination for a board position at Gazprom. So, yeah, he's over there. I think he's a good asset if in possible negotiations, and I think that he did not go to Russia just for a own vacation, and no, he was not by German foreign ministry and so on. I think he went over there on a mission. He didn't go over there to visit the Kremlin just to see the, whatever, the walls. So yes, because he can communicate and maybe persuade Putin to something, is the first time when I hear that could be a possibility that the Russian army would go back to the pre-February 24th borders. And I think the cantons, the Swiss cantons idea could be a good one. The problem is, not a problem, but I'm trying to look back at Italians, Germans and French in Switzerland. They had some, they don't... I've been to Switzerland. I don't have really friends, but I know people in Switzerland, and spoke with them, and I know from the Italian side and I know from the German side, and they're not very fond of one another. The Germans talk about Italians that are lazy and dirty and so on. The Italians talk about the Germans that they are narrow-minded, stupid and so on. But that's how certain people told me. It's not everyone, is not, but with speaking with this, they say this, when speaking with this, they say that. But so there might be some tensions, but it's still working better than it worked in Ukraine since 2014. Could it be tried? I don't think the cantons fought a civil war like these guys. I don't remember that happening. And if I look at what I'm trying to say, it's not the same kind of history between those three nationalities in the same region, formed, a long time ago, not, after the Second World War, because if that would have been after the Second World War, I'm pretty sure the form another one like Yugoslavia after the First World War, then we would have a Bosnia and Serbia and Kosovo thing over there as well. I'm inclined to believe that would be the case. But I think that's a good start. And I think that if the Americans, yes, these are the ones, Russians will not negotiate with Ukrainians. They will negotiate with the United States. So when the United States gives the yes, and they're not going to give the yes because they want to destroy Russia as a competitor, and Russia is not destroyed. So they have Russia where they wanted it for 15 years already. So why would I? It's like I'm in a candy shop right now, right? What am I supposed to do? Just get out because why? Schroeder and... No, I'm going to eat all the candies and then I get out. So I'm going to take care of Russia. I'm going to eat everything from Russia. And then, yeah, we can make a deal now that you're weak and done and depleted of everything you got, if I get to that position. And in the process, my people and my country will not get better. But, in the name of freedom and democracy, let's do it. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.